Sex. I want to talk about sex. If everybody else can talk about it, while they wander, lost in their own evil quagmire of sexual perversions, then I figured it was time for me to give my own 2 cents. And I'm interested in what you think about my views on sex. I've never heard any other person speak about this, about the exact same opinion and thoughts that I have about sex. Truly, I haven't. Not exactly the same. Actually, in some aspects, not even close. It's never been mentioned before that I know of. And I would bet that you haven't heard about this either. But stick with me, because suddenly, everything could start to make a lot more sense for you. And you gotta admit, what the world is doing now is really super messed up. Well, it sure ain't pretty. Okay, this is how it all starts. And I'm not going to pretend that I understand all the mysteries surrounding this. I don't understand all the mysteries of God and the heavens. Who does? I don't think any of us do. God purposely confounds our minds. Our brains aren't equipped to handle the understandings. Not yet, anyways. One day we will understand. So, sex. This is how it started. In heaven, God creates a soul. And when it is the perfect right time for this one specific soul, God will pull apart that soul into two parts, male and a female. And both these souls are sent to earth to be born of 2 completely different mothers. And this is part of the meaning of life as well. How is the act of sex tied into our higher calling, our purpose, the meaning of life in general? Well, it is for these 2 souls to find each other again and to become one soul once more. Finding their soulmate will be hard work, no doubt. It will require patience, purity, sacrifice, wisdom, understanding, courage, dedication, and a commitment, because the only way you can do this is with a commitment to follow God and Jesus Christ, and a willingness to be led by the Holy Spirit while on their journey to find their one true soul mate. Yep, it's really that simple and that difficult. You were one soul in heaven. You were pulled apart from your soul mate, either male or female. You were put on the earth to find your soul mate. We're constantly being tested. Will we fail that test or pass the test? This is one major reason the world is falling apart. Most people have rejected this perfect plan for their lives. They've rejected God, and they've rejected this plan. And they've rejected one of the major reasons for their existence in the first place. Isn't it also wonderful and amazing? God's perfect love for us. He gives us a choice all the time. He gives us a choice to love Him or not. He gave us a choice to love our soulmate or love ourselves more. He gives us a choice to find our soulmate or not. And because there is so much evil in the world, sex has become so perverted and disgusting when it was meant to be a pure, holy reunification of 2 souls. When 2 soulmates find each other again and join back together and reunite their 2 individual souls back together into one whole soul, that perfect holy union, pure and innocent, fulfills part of their calling in life. Because really, why do you think people feel so empty all the time? Why do you think they feel such a huge void inside? Right? Isn't that what we all say? And Many people chase the wrong solutions, the wrong things to try and fill that void. Does it work? It never works. Many give up. Many end up in despair. This is a test, and it requires lots of faith. The same amount of faith it requires to believe in God, to trust God, to love God with all our heart. The void, while they feel that way because they have rejected God and because they did not wait to find their soulmate. And did you know that God made it so that some souls would not be attracted to any other soul other than their soulmate? Doesn't that explain a lot of things? Think about that. Stick with me. So realize that in the wondrous beauty of two souls rejoining back into one, the fruit, the reward, and the legacy of that union is children. There you go. That's another reason why the murderous torture procedure of abortion is so horrific. Imagine you're searching for your soulmate only to find out that it had been aborted. What happens now? You've searched your entire life trying to find your soulmate, but it had been aborted. Let that sink in. But God can work miracles, God can heal, and God can forgive, and God can provide for us everything that we need. And in this specific instance, the person that we need. I don't know how, and like I said in the beginning, I won't even begin to presume to think that I understand the mysteries of our Father, our Creator. But one last thing. I want to say to both men and women, nakedness, being naked. You know what? Being naked belongs only to our soulmate. Yeah, I'm not going to be popular. Whatever. Seeing any form of nakedness is part of the act of sex, of that holy union, of that reuniting the two soulmates and becoming one soul again. So even when men walk around in shorts and no shirt, even that's not good. And porn is evil. It robs and steals any chance that two soulmates can really truly unite in purity and innocence. The more covered that we are, the more that our bodies are covered up, the better. There was a time, though, when it was easy to find a soulmate, because during this specific time, all people were a fog to each other, like a cloud. You could look around and people literally looked like a fog. And if all of a sudden you could see the true form of another person, their actual flesh, it meant that you had found your soul mate. This sounds like fiction to you. This sounds like I'm telling you a story. But this is what has been revealed to me. And I'm not saying that I speak for God. I'm not saying that these are God's words. They may be, they might not be. Why aren't people fog now to each other? Why are we able to see all flesh? Well, there were very evil events that took place on the earth. So now we see all flesh. It wasn't God's perfect plan. We are tested even more in these times. And just like the ability for humans to be able to clearly see each other's flesh, now, one day, that ability will be taken away. We will go back to God's perfect plan. I don't know when it will happen. It could happen tomorrow. It could happen 1,000 years. It could happen when we're all in heaven. I'm not sure. But one day, it could be that all flesh we will not see anymore. It will be back to fog. And the only flesh that we will be able to see is of our true soulmate. And on a side note, there was a time when humans were able to see the angels and demons, to see the entire supernatural realm. God shut our eyes to that. One day we will again be able to see the supernatural realm. We will be able to witness angels and demons roaming on the earth, angels and demons warring with each other. Our vision will change. Yes, I know, I'll say it again, I know what I'm telling you will not be popular. But I didn't choose to serve, to worship, and to love God and Jesus Christ and the Holy Spirit so that I would be popular. In fact, I was promised persecution and suffering for my beliefs and choices. And if I could clearly understand those things as an 8-year-old, I can even more fully accept it now. I'm okay with that. Contrary to what most people are doing by putting their own selves first, putting themselves at the center of their life, I choose to put God, Jesus Christ, and the Holy Spirit at the center of my life. All sacrifices and actions that I make, all my choices are based on that as much as I can, because I have not reached perfection in my goal, but my heart is set at putting myself last and putting God first. And by trying to put God first, He gave me a love for others. So the purpose of my life is not about me at all. I'm not the center of my life. The purpose of my life is about being a servant of the Most High, my Creator, my Father in heaven, and to be a servant to others. Life isn't about pleasure. Life is about fulfilling God's calling for our life. And in that, we will be filled with an overflowing joy and happiness. God bless.